Greetings and blessings. Welcome to the hotspot on Twitter, on TikTok, on YouTube. Welcome. We're live. We are back again to talk Manchester United and of course all these hot football conversations that we do always enjoy. Thank you for joining us live from wherever you are. You let me know both on TikTok and on YouTube. TikTok fam, I see you. YouTube guys, I see you. I'm here for the next couple of minutes, probably an hour. We'll be talking about Manchester United. There is a lot to follow on this club because, guys, it's been I think quite a lull. It's been a boring period to be a United supporter because we have not been enjoying, EPL football. When the Premier League is off, I think it's really, really, really boring. It feels so bad to be a United supporter when there's no Premier League. Trust me, we always want to enjoy the Premier League. We always want to enjoy the action. The international break is always going to take away a lot from us. But glad it's back. Thank you for joining us on TikTok. I see you coming up. And those of you on YouTube, I do see you as well. Great stuff you're doing. Now, today is a lot at stake to talk about concerning Manchester United, but also football at large. I told you about the issues going on with United. Manchester United is becoming Situation United, and we are, I think, slowly but surely getting used to our title of being a club full of situations. There has been a situation every other time at Manchester United. It doesn't stop. I told you United is that gift that does not stop giving. Now, the situation now as we speak is, leave alone there's so many injuries, Rafael Varane is unsettled. Now, the manager came out to deny this, Eric Ten Hag, but Rafael Varane wants out. Are you sad about it? You can give me your opinion about it, both on TikTok and on YouTube. But I first want to, of course, remind you that the Premier League returns with so many games. Tomorrow, Manchester City up against Liverpool. Flash score doesn't have an odd for that game yet. It's strange. Burnley taking on West Ham United. Odd 3.68 for Burnley at home and 2.09 for West Ham. Interesting. 3.78 for a draw. Okay, I'll give you some Arab money for those of you who'd love to stake, to go into the weekend and make some money. I'll give you some games you can put your money on. Be careful with it. It's good the kids are going for holiday. You won't worry about school fees. I don't encourage people to touch their school fees and necessities money if you're going into betting. But there are so many games. Luton up against Crystal Palace. Luton at home 3.79. Looks to be going down. Then 2.12 for Crystal Palace. Newcastle United up against Chelsea. Nottingham Forest, Brighton, Sheffield United, Bournemouth. These are the Premier League games tomorrow. Brentford up against Arsenal. That's the other one. But that will be ladies' day. The men arrive on Sunday the following day. Tottenham Hotspur up against Aston Villa. That's a huge one. Massive game that. It will be at 5 p.m. Then at 7:30, the last game of Sunday, 7:30, it will be Everton taking on Manchester United at Goodison. And that's the game I'm going to be sticking to. Welcome aboard. Thank you for joining me on the hotspot. Always a pleasure to be here to talk about Man United, this club that I do love, as we do continue to grow this community of Manchester United supporter. Always a pleasure to be here with you. Now, let's get proper into this United conversation. So, Everton at Goodison. Now, Eric Ten Hag today had an interesting interview at Carrington where he was speaking to the media about a lot of things that as you expect, hard questions had to be thrown at him, and one of them was about Rafael Varane. And if you haven't watched that video, if you go on my YouTube channel, I think the video is there. On TikTok, I gave you a summary of what's going on with Rafael Varane, of how he's not happy with Eric Ten Hag, because Ten Hag, who I, by the way, find each day that passes, I realize something wrong about Eric Ten Hag. Not about his tactics. I love Ten Hag. Let me not use the word wrong. Something different about Ten Hag and his man management. I think he has failed to balance the ruthlessness. I think the ruthlessness is needed, but I think he's struggling to balance it a bit. I think he's pulling a character. I'm trying to read him, and I feel like there's a lot we don't know that goes on at Carrington and in the dressing rooms, that perhaps he's trying to create this character, this image that is going to get all players respect him. But it seems for me, I feel like these players do not highly regard him. Of course, considering how he treated Cristiano Ronaldo and how they saw things happen here, certainly Ronaldo has had, all the players. I think half of the players at Manchester United are inspired by Cristiano Ronaldo. They are that generation of players who only watch Cristiano Ronaldo as their icon and role model. So certainly had a huge influence on them. And I feel like the Cristiano Ronaldo presence could have affected how Eric Ten Hag relates with the players at Manchester United. And I will tell you why I'm telling you this. I'm going as far back as Cristiano Ronaldo. I was watching Eric Ten Hag being asked about Rafael Varane and whether Varane whether it is true that he did fall out with him. Now, obviously, he wouldn't come out there in the media in a press conference and say, yes, it is true. I'm not seeing face to face or eye to eye with Rafael Varane. Obviously, he cannot come up and say that. But the answer he gave when he was asked that, he said, I don't know what you're talking about. Now, we all know that when someone is asked something and their response is, I don't know what you're talking about, that means they know what you're talking about, actually. That that's what it means simply. So for me, Eric Ten Hag was just, I think, selling himself and confirming what you already knew. I see you, Senoga Ramanzan, on YouTube. Good evening to you guys on TikTok. If you haven't subscribed, the channel is Hotspot with Web. Hotspot on YouTube. That's where we are every day. There are so many videos for you that you need to watch and enjoy Man United talk. And so yeah, so it seems my microphone is off for the guys on TikTok, but don't you worry, I have a backup for you. So, just a minute, I'll get this. There you go. Should be back now. Loud and clear. Hello, hello. Hello, 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 hello. I think we're okay now. Someone was telling you to check sound. We should be Kawa now, no? Sorry, I just seen it here. It wasn't lighting. So sorry. So here we go. So we're here. I don't know where I went when I went off, but we are talking Everton Man United. Huge game on Sunday, Man United. But I was saying the issue when Eric Ten Hag was asked about his issues with Rafael Varane, his response was, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm saying, if you know about lying, and I'm not a liar, I'm a bad liar, I'm the worst liar. People who know me will tell you, by the way, I'm a very bad liar. But I also know that when you ask someone something and they say, I don't know what you're talking about, they are bad liars. They're actually selling themselves out. So Eric Ten Hag was denying knowing anything about what people are, the rumors coming through that he has fallen out with Rafael Varane. But we saw the game when he came on as a substitute. Which game was it? When I think it was Luton, was it? When he was his body language, I think it was either Luton or his Champions League. I forget the game, but he was not happy. You would see that clearly. Rafael Varane is not happy. So we saw this coming, but I feel like players at United, and someone said it. One of the legends said it recently. The players are not playing for Eric Ten Hag, and I feel like this could be partly because of being influenced by Cristiano Ronaldo. And when he was at United and some of the things he said in that interview with Piers Morgan, obviously such things will have an impact on the younger players who I say are mostly idolize Cristiano Ronaldo. I think 90% of the players playing elite football today have idolized Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi because they are younger players, that generation of youngsters who saw Saka, Martinelli. I saw Nicolas, what this Chelsea guy, forget the other name, Nicolas, whatever. He also, all these players idolize, and most of those Man United players idolize Cristiano Ronaldo. So if he was there with them and he had such sentiments about Eric Ten Hag, obviously when he was leaving, he must have spoiled it for him in the dressing room, and that's what Ten Hag is trying to deal with. And for me, that's why he has come out ruthless to all these players to show them that I'm the boss, and that's why he has treated Jadon Sancho the way he has, and that's why I think he's falling out with many of these players. He's trying to prove a point, and do we need such? I think United needs such a manager. I think you can't be a United manager and you think you're going to sell ice cream and get these players listening to you. But at times it gets out of hand, and I think it then looks ugly on him, and I feel for him, to be honest. But going back to the Varane and Ten Hag and Manu situation, I won't sit here and pretend that I'm sad about Rafael Varane leaving. In fact, I'm one of those who feel actually should leave in Jan at the earliest. Not because he's a bad player, not because I don't like him. Those who have been around following me on the hotspot here and on YouTube, I've been consistent telling you that Rafael Varane, even when Harry Maguire was stripped of the captaincy, my first pick for captain was Rafael Varane ahead of Bruno Fernandes for many reasons. But of course, I think Ten Hag knew he was never going to be fully fit. I think we signed an injured player. And that's why he couldn't give him the armband. He has never been consistent. So I won't sit here and pretend that I'll feel bad about Rafael Varane leaving. I think Varane is earning way too much money, and he's not alone. We have a lot of players earning way too much money for doing absolutely nothing. Now, I won't say Varane is doing nothing, but Varane is not doing enough to warrant the wages he earns. But also, most importantly, considering the situation we are in, we are bringing in a new guy to try and put our football right. The John Matters and Richard Arnold have wasted a lot of the club's money, giving players crazy wages for doing absolutely nothing. You bring in a Sir Jim Ratcliffe who is coming in to try and put things right, and you're stuck with players like Rafael Varane. I think Varane should leave as early as he can, because in a year, by the end of this season, Rafael Varane will not be able to attract even 20 million pounds, because he will be that bad. Right now, we can get something like maybe just close to 30 million pounds for him from Saudi Arabia, probably, or anywhere. I don't think if we stuck with him longer, we will get a nickel from him. We won't get a penny from him, because he's going down so fast. So United has got to learn and know. I think the most difficult thing they say is knowing when to let go. I think Manchester United has got to learn and know when they should let go of players like Rafael Varane, Casemiro as well. And I'll respect Casemiro because he's injured, but Casemiro as well for me should leave at the next available opportunity. These guys are earning 340,000, and for Casemiro perhaps maybe even a bit fair, but for Varane, earning 340,000 pounds per week, that is 1.36 million pounds per month, which is equal to more than 10 million pounds in 8 months. Now, in 8 months, that is when, because it's from between January and that's the next window, and the next one that will be in the summer in August, there will be 8 months. So if we keep him beyond January, we are going to have to pay him 10 million, at least 10 million pounds by August, to play probably 8 games or 5 games in the entire 8 months, because it's never consistent. Is that the kind of club or organization we want to run? Is that something that the richest man in the UK, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, would want to preside over? I certainly don't think so. But also, like I said, we need to sell him when he can still attract some reasonable money. Remember, the issue we had as United in the summer was the fact that we are stuck with so many worthless players. For lack of a simpler word, a kinder words to use, we are stuck with so many worthless players who could not even be flattered by Al Ittihad or Al Ettifaq, all these other Saudi clubs or Qatari clubs that we had a lot of money to spend left, right, and center. They were fetching players from Chelsea for fun, and none of them, no club hinted about a United player. That's how bad we were. Yes, they had money; it's there to spend. In fact, they are even bragging. These Saudi guys recently, earlier this week, came out and said they are serious. They want to have the best players in their prime, in their league. Now, you think about such, and you're saying, if these guys have all the money and they can't even, just flatter a single United player, how bad are our players? How bad are our players? But I think we need to make money. We need to get some bit of that Saudi money, because we need it. If United is going to sign players that are going to improve United, we have got to sell. And we've got to sell and get players, because with the players we need, the Joao Neveses of this world, the players like Antonio Silva that we talk about, the Jean-Claire Todibo. Todibo is not too expensive, I think about 30 million euros. But all the players we want will cost us some money. The buyout clause, for example, of Antonio Silva is close to 85 million. I think the buyout clause of Joao Neves is more than 100 million, probably. So you think about all that money we need, and that money can only come from the sale of players. Remember, because of financial fair play, you don't expect Sir Jim Ratcliffe to come in and just bring in money and we start buying players. No, we've got to sell and buy. That's financial fair play, not just bringing in your money and books are not balancing. So we've got to sell these players when you can make sense. That's why for me I insist Varane should go in Jan, whichever amount. So is Casemiro. Casemiro has started following the Varane journey, because Casemiro is even older than Varane. These players are, first of all, not hungry. They have given us what they can. The one season they gave us is enough. Yes, it's enough. We already made mistakes. We paid way too much for them. I think we negotiated badly for their wages, but they have. I think for Casemiro, I even have any qualms with him. Even Varane last season, he was an important player. He played over 22 or 23 games for United, but he won't come back and be consistent. And Eric Ten Hag has continuously complained that what part of the reasons why we see a big dip in performance of United is the fact that he has failed to have a consistent squad, a consistent number of players in the team, because players are always injured. So he's planning building patterns, and the next day, Luke Shaw is out. Casemiro is out. Rasmus Højlund now is out. So how are you going to build patterns? It can't. So if you're going to build a team for the greater good, then you've got to sacrifice and let go of players who won't give you consistency if your patterns are going to make sense. Have players who are available. So for me, the Varane talk, I think I'm for Varane leaving in Jan. In fact, if there could have been an earlier window, I wouldn't mind, even if he terminated his contract the way Cristiano Ronaldo did with immediate effect. I don't think I would really care. I think for me, he's a sort of a fraud, for lack of a better word. And okay, it's not intentional; it's injuries, but yeah, you know what I mean. He's not playing, but I love him. Don't get it twisted. But I love Man United more. Let me know what you think about Varane, and I'm seeing quite a number of comments on TikTok. Let me try to access them and read them. But also, Senoga Ramanzana, I see you on YouTube. Now, going to the game, Everton taking on Man United. Of course, Ten Hag spoke about how ready he feels we are, even if there are doubts about our big man, Rasmus Højlund, who he says will have to be subject to a late fitness test. Now, for me, reading from his body language and his face, I don't think Rasmus Højlund will be fit for the game. I think Højlund will not play. I don't expect him to be fit for that one. But Erik Ten Hag seems to be confident in players like Marcus Rashford to come in and do the work, despite their struggles that we saw even for their national teams. But that is according to Ten Hag. So he says we have the players to score the goals. I think we've scored 13 goals in 12 games. So he feels goals come from left, right, and center. So he feels it should be okay. We should be good. Do I agree? Uh, I'm not sure, because I think Ten Hag has got big challenges to do with how to play these players. I don't think the United players are as bad as we perform sometimes, but I think Eric Ten Hag has got difficulties in selecting these players. Chama Nywamagezi Jared say, thanks Web. Can you please enlighten me to why Man United buys good players and they become flops with a short time compared to other teams? That's a very good question. Let me even pass clear my throat. I have a bit of a cold, so guys, please bear with me if you see me sneezing. What I mean, it's the season, these things. So here's the thing. I'm going to answer your question, Chamanywa Magezi Gerard. Can you enlighten me why Man United buys good players and become flops with a short? See, the whole football system at Manchester United has been a mess. The reason why these players, and it hasn't started with Eric Ten Hag, from when Sir Alex Ferguson left, we signed some of the hottest players in the world at the time. Some of them. I remember we signed players like Di Maria. Okay, Di Maria was not the hottest per se, because I think I still had played his best at Madrid. But we signed players like Di Maria. We signed players like Falcao. Falcao was a hot striker at the time. We signed players like Wesley Schneiderlin. We signed players like Martial was young in 2016 when we got him, Van Hal. He was the most exciting teenager emerging. We signed players like Alexis Sanchez. We signed, I'll remind you of these names. You might have forgotten some of them, by the way. I'll remind you of players like, who else did we sign? We signed so many players who are good, but when they come to United, they fail. Do you know why? Because the system. You don't think football is not as obvious as people think. Football takes a lot. Football at that level is so fragile, if I would use the word, that you do one small thing, not even on the pitch, and the entire project is gone. You're supposed to get things right. to play at football at that level consistently. United's project had no direction. When Sir Alex Ferguson left, I think they didn't expect, they had no plan, continuity plan. Or perhaps they thought because Sir Alex Ferguson had got the success and the stability that he had built for all those years, the system was automatic, that was going to be automatic, that United would then stabilize with whichever manager. But post Sir Alex Ferguson, there was clearly no direction. So even if we brought Messi in the mess at United, Messi would flop and you would be shocked because football is not a one-man game. It's not individual talent. It's the whole project now. And by that I mean, you saw what Cristiano Ronaldo told you. The training facilities he left in 2009 are the same training facilities we are still having now. Honestly, at the topmost level, facilities in training between 2009 and 2022 really, there must have been a lot of changes. Ronaldo was at Madrid. Obviously, Madrid keep upgrading their facilities to the best so that they have the fittest players. That's why United players don't look fit. Why do you think United players can't run? They are getting injuries because the facilities they are training in are way behind the time. So that is not a player. That's not a problem of the players. It's not the problem of the players. You saw how they changed the medical team. They changed the doctor to bring what's the guy, the former Arsenal guy. Eh, It's because even that was wrong. The medical department was poorly run. How are we signing injured players? How do we sanction injured players? They make the manager look unserious because the manager is not the doctor. So you medics should be telling the manager what's wrong with this. If the players are fit, there is a medical. But United has consistently been signing injured players. So the reason why players flop at United is not because they are bad. They come so good and so hot, but they go into a rotten system, and trust me, they will die. Even if it's you and you're good at anything, if you're so good and you go and you're surrounded by very poor people without direction, you will also be poor. You will be lowered to their level. Instead of you can't shine alone. It's a team sport. So the reason why Chamanya Magezi, the reason why these players flop is because the system, and that's why it's so important that the Glazers had to relinquish the football matters at the club because they never cared. For them, all they cared about was making money, and they were making it. That's why they would just give any manager, buy the most expensive managers, and give them money to buy players because you can't fault the Glazers for not spending. They have spent on players wages, crazy, stupid, silly wages, and big, big, big fees to sign players. So the man has been there, but what has it done? So it's because the system was not there. There was no proper direction and plan. And those are the conversations that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is said to have with Eric Ten Hag to try and understand the plan. They have to think. They say, okay, this is the direction we want the football issues here at this club to take. Are we, together? And Ten Hag says yes. Let's proceed. So that is it. Those are the things we've got to correct. So for as long as we don't sort such, trust me, Man United will still struggle. We will still have issues. We will still sign the best players, and they will still flop. In fact, give it to Cristiano Ronaldo because you can't say he flopped when he returned, but he ran away from that mess before it took him. But the boy, he was our best player when he left at what 38. And in that mess, he would still work and score goals the way he did at his age. So that shows you, there's a lot of work United needs to do. So, Abbas Adams, why is it that most United players think they must play even if they are not fully fit? It's because they earn so much money. It's because they earn so much money, so their egos tell them that they get entitled because, I mean, you're earning 300 and what, 40,000, they earn more than their manager, which is normal anyway in football. It's not peculiar to United, but it's because their egos. There's a lot of player power lately in football, and it's a bad thing, by the way. And recently, I saw Obi Mikel bragging about how the Chelsea players, that great Chelsea team with Jose Mourinho, the Abramovich Chelsea team that won titles with John Terry as captain, how they had the player power and they would sack managers and what. I feel like Man United is almost headed in that direction if Sir Jim Ratcliffe doesn't come and stand firm. Because players, with the wages they earn, that's why a player like Jadon Sancho will respect Eric Ten Hag and refuse to apologize. What's that? What's that? And probably he has divided the dressing room. He has a group of fellow young generation Z boys also feeling macho like him. We won't apologize. I won't say sorry. You know, boys of today, they do something. My boy here is only what? He's 6. But he will do something and you tell him to apologize and you will see that he's being, So kids of today are like that. And that's the generation we are in. But that said, I think Eric Ten Hag is trying to be in control of the situation at United. I think he is, but at times things really get out of hand. So let's go back to the game on Sunday. So Ten Hag confirms that Hoyland will have to go through a late fitness test. Now, when Hoyland is not there, for me, that's what I want to draw attention to. Look at the players we have and tell me how Eric Ten Hag is supposed to assemble a squad that is going to score goals against an Everton that is wounded. Everton is a proper wounded lion. They were docked 10 points. Something they are appealing. They don't feel that was right. So the fans are angry. The players are motivated. The coach is psyched. So you'd imagine it would be difficult. And they are home. Well, whereas they have had a bad record at home, but they are home. So you would imagine it's going to be a very difficult space for Manchester United to play at. It's going to be difficult. So how on earth are we going to get the goals? Because I think our goal scoring and conceding, of course, have not been good. How are we then going to get the goals? Do we go back to what we had last season? Marcus Rashford playing as a false 9, where he doesn't want to play because he doesn't have the patience of a false 9. But Rashford as a false 9, or should we start with Anthony Martial? And then what happens to the other position? So it's interesting. But for me, this is what I think. I think this game presents Eric Ten Hag with 2 opportunities. One, if Hoyland is not there, of course, if he's there, because like I said, he says Hoyland has got to pass a late fitness test. If he does pass it and is there, I'll be excited to see him play with Luke Shaw. Because like Ten Hag said in his presser, Luke Shaw is a gem. He just reorganizes us. Even the body language of Ten Hag, you saw he was a bit confident knowing that Luke Shaw is back. You will see what Luke Shaw changes to that in that team. Why I keep saying it is world class, and he will start even in Real Madrid if he's fit. That's why when he's fit, he's undisputed number 1 left back for England. Yet they have so many of them. So Luke Shaw's return, I think, is a major boost. The fact that even Wan-Bissaka is there on the right, then it won't matter if Maguire is playing alongside Lindelof or Varane is somehow forced and convinced to come and play and concentrate and play football. It doesn't matter. If Luke Shaw is there and we've got Bissaka on the right, I think Andre Onana in between the sticks will feel more comfortable and firmer than having Sergio Reguilon or Victor Lindelof playing on the left next to Maguire and Johnny Evans. But guys, sometimes I feel we're a bit too harsh on these goalkeepers. But really, you're a world-class goalkeeper like Andre Onana. You come from Inter Milan, Champions League finalists, and you learn in a Man U that has a backline of Harry Maguire, Johnny Evans, and left back Victor Lindelof. How on earth are you not going to concede P2 goals? You will. You will lose your confidence instantly. But anyhow, so I think it won't be the case. It will be different. I think the return of Luke Shaw does a lot. I would love to see Luke Shaw play with Rasmus Højlund because of his crossing. Because I think Luke Shaw could assist Højlund before Marcus Rashford does in the Premier League. But let's focus on the players who will be there, because I don't think Højlund will be there. So if Marcus Rashford is there, then, and Rashford has been whack lately. He has not been performing at all lately. He has been off form, but Eric Ten Hag has got a lot of confidence in him. And his approach is to keep him there until he gains his form. But if Luke Shaw starts, I don't like to see him starting on the left. I would love to see him starting either on the right or try to learn to be a target man. Did I say Luke Shaw? Marcus Rashford, not Luke Shaw, sorry. I don't want to see Marcus Rashford starting on the left. I would rather have him start as either false 9 or on the right, and then Anthony Martial can come in together with Garnacho. I don't want to talk about Anthony. I wouldn't put Anthony in this game because he doesn't do anything. He does nothing. He runs a lot. He's a hard worker. Probably he's one of our fitter players, but most ineffective. So I would put the Garnachos there. I would put Anthony Martial. I would put I would put Marcus Rashford and just tell them to keep interchanging between them on the top as the front three. I would tell them to just keep interchanging, play a puzzle. I think that way they would confuse this this Everton team. Otherwise, just playing, Marcus Rashford as the number 9, I don't think it would give us results. I'm seeing Gerard Magezi saying, cause Man United had Gerard Piqué, sold out, then became a world-class player. Pogba, Di Maria, Lukaku, because we may keep blaming players when the virus is somewhere. Yes, the players have got to take some blame, definitely, but we know that the issue is beyond the players. Yeah? Beyond the players. Just a minute. Let me just put something right here. Oh, my TikTok people. Okay. So yeah, I was saying, you for me, it's obvious for me. It's really obvious for me. So we are going back live on TikTok, I think. Let's beat it. Stay here. So listen, the problem of United is beyond the players. The players will have to certainly take a certain share of the blame. They have got to take responsibility because they are on huge wages. They have got to take responsibility at some point. But the problem of United, like I said, is beyond the players. The problem of United is far, far beyond the players. The problem of United goes on to the system, the whole project, and everything that we are building. The whole project is not working. It's not right. There is no direction. It's there. It's blunt. That's the problem at United. So Sir Jim Ratcliffe has got the biggest job to do, to give us direction. So yes, but also for those who are into this faith, some people tell me it's a curse. There is a curse of the Riba curse because of the debt that the Glazers took, and and use the players as collateral. So we are back live. Sorry, we are off. Sorry. I think we are live. We are back now. So the problem of United is beyond the players. It's an institutional problem, huge institutional problem that certainly will take more than Eric Ten Hag to fix. Eric Ten Hag is not the problem at United. His issues will always be there. He's a manager with young players who earn a lot of money, so they will have their issues there. But the bigger problem of United is beyond both of them, the players and the coach. There are bigger problems. Ahimbisiwe Humphrey saying, style of play at United is a problem for some players. Well, the reality is, I don't think Eric Ten Hag, and he said it before, by the way, they were asking him about how his team does not play like he was playing at Ajax. Clearly, I think the players we have do not have the attributes to execute what Eric Ten Hag would want to play, that pressing from behind and up front and all. Why? Because we've got, first of all, lazy players. Why? Some of them are old. Now, we don't expect Casemiro to press the way he would press 6 years ago. Varane, the same. Some of these players are lazy. So, and pressing takes a lot of fitness. That's why they are complaining. I was seeing reports earlier this week suggesting that certain players felt like the reason why Man United was players were getting injuries is because Eric Ten Hag changed the training regime and they overtrained during preseason. Now, can you imagine professional footballers earning crazy amounts of money for playing mediocre football, are complaining their team is not performing, but are saying the reason they are getting injuries is because they were overworked? How lazy. I remember the game against Luton. Luton players covered more distance than United players. Isn't that a shame? We might actually be one of the most unfit team. And never mind Eric Ten Hag talking about ball recoveries. I remember when United was topping the table of ball recoveries, and Ten Hag was speaking about that in a press, and I'm thinking, has this guy realized he's coaching Man United? Sometimes Ten Hag can say things, and I'm thinking, okay, fam, what exactly is this? What are you saying? You shouldn't have said that at least. But maybe it comes with the pressure of trying. I feel like Ten Hag lately is trying so much to defend and prove himself. It looks ugly on him as a manager, trying to defend himself and justify himself to anyone and everyone. And you're thinking, come on, Gaffer, you don't have to explain yourself. That's why he exposed. I think this is why what annoyed Varane, him trying to explain the tactics behind dropping Varane for the Manchester derby. I will every day. I think I will talk about it. I don't know until when. I would never understand that tactic, and I'm no tactician. I'm no coach. I'm no footballer, but I think I'm fun enough and sober enough to know that whatever I was explaining did not make sense. There is no way you can explain leaving Varane on the bench when he's fully fit, and you say it's a tactical for tactical reasons. If you say he was not ready in terms of fitness, it makes sense. But for tactical reasons, you leave Varane out for Lindelof in a Manchester derby at home. They beat you 3 and you say people are bad for calling you out. I didn't get that. But yeah, that said, so going back to the game on Sunday, I think for me, Eric Ten Hag and how he assembles his team is going to be everything. And I'm excited to see how it's going to look up front. How is he going to play with Garnacho? Is he going to slot in Anthony? Will Martial come in and start? If HOJLUND is not there, so it takes us way, way back. We'll show you why we need a striker. And he was asked whether he thinks United needs a striker, another striker, and he was saying we have the players to score the goals. Like Marcus Rashford scored 30 last season. Ten Hag sometimes, things they say is make it difficult for you to even defend him sometimes, because you can't say that. He should be saying, anyway, he's just trying to be a manager, trying to show belief in his players and confidence, but at times it sells him out. Ahimisiwe Humphrey says we need a coach who will come with this style of play, not a coach repeating what the sacked coach was doing, like how Pep changed Man City. No, I don't quite think Eric Ten Hag is copying what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was playing. I think Ten Hag, like I said, he doesn't have the players to execute what his preferred style of playing. I'll give you an example. He told you, and he said it today, that he loves playing with a left-footed centre back on the left-hand side of the central defense. But he has got Lisandro Martinez, that's why he bought him. But Martinez is always sick. So if he's not there and he has got to now improvise with right-footed centre back, so already it's affecting how he would want to play. Because for him, the way he wants to play, he wants a left-footed centre back on the left-hand side of the central defense. You understand? Excuse me. So I think, let's be honest, he's also at times let down by the players. Yeah, so he has got to manage as a manager. That's his job. He has got to figure out how to make it work with the players he has. Which players he perhaps doesn't feel are the right players to execute his philosophy. So what do you do? But the fact that usually what would happen is this manager would be sacked until they would perhaps get the right manager for the players they have, because it's cheaper to sack the manager and get another than to overhaul the players for the manager. You can't sell the entire squad. So that's unfortunately that's how football is. It's the manager who has got to find ways of making, because by the time you come to take on the job, you know the player, you see the players. That's the assumption. You see the players and you know what you want to play, and you know whether these players can do what you want to execute. So if you don't think they can, you don't take the job. So Eric Ten Hag took the job seeing the players. I'm sure he watched videos of Man. If he wasn't watching Man U playing regularly, he probably watched videos of Man U before he took on the sign that contract. So whereas yes, he doesn't exactly have the players to execute his style, I think that should not be an excuse for him not to execute, because he knew what he was coming into when he was coming anyway. But yeah, he as this is getting the results, I think we have been so negative about the whole Man United, and we have failed to appreciate the little positives, that even in the worst of times, even when they are not looking good at all, even when they have been bad, Manchester United has somehow managed to win 4 out of the last 5 games. Now in the league, that's all that you care about. Okay, some of them are not in the league, but that's all that matters. That even at your worst, you can grind a result. If that happens for me, I think that is the most important thing. That even at your worst, you are able to grind a result, and that's what Mani is doing. So when you pick up, and it will happen. I don't think United will be like this forever. I don't think so. I think we'll eventually pick up, but I feel like I feel like we we are taking too long to pick up, and things seem to be happening, then they don't. For example, the Sir Jim Ratcliffe takeover, we were expecting that by this week it would be done, and then emerged the UEFA rule that talks of banning Manu, and if because Sir Jim Ratcliffe owns Niche and they both can't play in the Champions League, so they, the whole Manu thing is, it's not progressive. We progress, then we pause, then we go back. It's the same on the pitch, and uh, it's the same on the pitch. When one player is returning, Rasmus Højlund goes out. Perhaps when Casemiro returns, it will be Bruno. And I hate to say it, I hate to be the prophet of doom, but guys, think about how much football Bruno has played in the past year since he joined United. I think last year, I remember the end of the last season. Guys, forgive me, I have a cold. I won't just keep sneezing here as I talk to you, so please bear with me. But uh, last season, I remember Bruno Fernandes played more games than any footballer in the top 5 leagues in Europe. He played more minutes than any footballer. Up to today, Bruno Fernandes is the one player who is always there, running and running and running. Would you be surprised if Bruno, because players are going to get injured as the season goes on, would you be surprised if Bruno, and I hate again, I'm not, God forbid, I hope it doesn't happen. But the reality is we should be prepared for this. That Bruno could actually soon get injured. And what will happen when he does? Maybe that will be a chance for Mason Mount to play. But when Bruno has not, the few games Mount has been there without Bruno, he has been all over enjoying himself, but he has been ineffective, done nothing. So the the whole Man United situation is so interesting. That's why I was telling you people at the start of this season that we shouldn't put our expectations so high and pressure on these players and the team, because we first of all brought in quite a number of players, but we are so badly off that we need time to come right. Actually, Eric Ten Hag did magic last season for us to be able to finish third. He did magic. That was magic from Ten Hag. And credit to Casemiro, most importantly. I think Casemiro, of all signings we've made post Sir Alex Ferguson, Casemiro was the most impactful signing United made. It's sad that his impact was not long, but it's okay. For me, if Casemiro left in Jan, which I would want to happen, by the way, because Kobe Maino for me is the future. But if Casemiro left in Jan, for me, I would not have any qualms about him. I would not complain that, you see, we bought you for whatever million, what, I would be okay. Because this one season Casemiro gave us was perfect, was impeccable. He was impeccable. For his age, his achievements, he just came and lifted that whole squad. That's why the games were not there. You saw the difference we had. The reason we are struggling now mostly is because Casemiro is not at the level he was at last season. The reason we are struggling now, mostly, beyond on the pitch, is because of the Casemiro position. If Amrabat was playing close to how Casemiro played last season, we would be okay. By the way, the biggest problem on the pitch for United now is the Casemiro position, the holding midfielder. Because our middle is, we have no fulcrum. We are a highway, Entebbe Express, first way. We are a highway. It's so easy to run through our midfield. So easy. So we don't have that stability. And that's why for me that boy Kobe Maino is so important. I don't know when he will be ready. That boy is so important. When we get him and his farm there, everyone around is going to look good. He's going to free everyone around to look good. So the reason United is badly off is because Casemiro is not playing. Even when he's fit, he's not as good as he was. And you understand he's aging. It's the body. The body will tell you. It communicates. But last season, we were good. We were almost a title contender because Casemiro was. So if we solve the Casemiro problem, I think we can do a lot better. So we are not exactly as bad as we perform sometimes, but it's sad that we've got those little issues that keep emerging here and there. Uh, Now in the middle, for on Sunday for Everton, and I'll talk about my predicted lineup tomorrow. I'm thinking, and I'm still thinking deeply. I'm as if I'm the manager. I'm thinking deeply about this game and what Eric Ten Hag has got to do. Do you play one holding midfielder like he loves to do? One natural holding midfielder. Usually, he will play, let's say, Sofian. Of course, the back line will have left Luke Shaw, right Bisaka, centre back Maguire, and whoever else, either Varane or Lindelof. Or the Tinkerman might choose to play Luke Shaw as a centre back with Maguire, which is a good balance, by the way. The only issue is then who would be on the left. Would he push there Amrabat? Because Amrabat, I think, looks better on the left than he does in the middle. Interesting. But anyway, I think the obvious one would be Luke Shaw on the left, Bisaka on the right, the two central defenders, Maguire and Lindelof, or Varane. Then I think Eric Ten Hag needs to start playing two natural holding midfielders. If you have Scott McTominay, who okay, scores goals, plays, but he has been mostly playing as a holding midfielder at United. So you have Scott McTominay and Amrabat, two of them. Then Bruno is the number 10 behind HOJLUND. Okay, HOJLUND. If HOJLUND is not there, behind the target man, Marcus Rashford. Then Martial and Garnacho on the flanks. That would be a 4-2-3-1. So there is no space for Mason Mount, you realize. But for me, I think that would be a better formation in the Premier League because the Premier League teams run you down in the middle, and that's where our problem is. So if you don't have one player who can play it right, put two. Tell them to be there, to sit there and shield the back line. And then Bruno has got the energy to keep running and roving. Let him rove from the hole behind the striker, not coming back. But at times, Eric Ten Hag wants to play Bruno next to the number 6. And I'm thinking, you're wasting him. You're wasting him. That's what I think. Why are you playing him next to the number 6? He's too deep. He's too deep. We need Bruno closer to the goal to keep throwing shots because that's him. He's that player who will keep doing the same thing until it works. He will keep shooting and hitting opponents as if the ball passes. Our coach used to tell us, I don't know how they say that in Portuguese, but I think the junior coaches at the academy did not tell Bruno that the ball cannot go through a person's body. Bruno will shoot when the obvious thing is, come on, you can't shoot. But at times, he will shoot and it will work. And that's why you see Bruno has scored so many goals, but if you compare the goals he has scored to the attempts, the goals could be negligible. You wouldn't credit him that much because he's not as effective. He will do the same thing so many times until maybe after 10 tries, he gets a goal. But it's better than so many other players who don't risk. And it's a positive. It's partly a positive to the players. Luca AFC saying big up on yourself, brother. Okay, so guys, I've got 12 minutes. I've got to take my medication. I'm not so fresh, but yeah, I had to come and just talk about this United talk and build up to that game. But let me know what you think. Should Varane leave or should he stay? What's your take on this? Should Rafael Varane leave or he should stay? People on TikTok, I see you. Yes, I see you. Right there. You keep coming and dropping off. Of course, my live was dropping off. I think the internet was not as stable. But yeah, that's where we are. So, guys, look at AFC. Big up. Himbiziwe, Humphrey. I see you. Magezi Gerard, I see you. Abbas Adams, I see you. And Chamanywa, Senoga Ramanzan, thank you all. And of course, everyone else, thank you for being a part of it. So, for me, tomorrow I'll be back. Of course, I'll give you more after the confirmation of whether Rasmus HOJLUND will be playing or not. I should be able to give you my predicted lineup and prediction for this game, as we do take on a wounded lion in Everton who are fighting relegation. For Everton, every game they play now is survival. They are going to be playing survival football, the way we've been playing mostly in recent days. United has been playing survival football, like we are going to be relegated. Now, Everton are going to be playing retro survival football. Those are the worst teams to face. It's like towards the end of the season, You don't want to finish the season with a team that is fighting for dear life, that is fighting relegation. Those are the most difficult teams to beat. They are so difficult. They are fighting for their lives. They don't even. So that's Everton for you. Each game they play. Now this one is at their home. Uh, let our players come in their lazy setting. They will take us to footballing school. But yeah, that's it, fam. Thank you so much for being a part of the hotspot. My name is Webb. I think I'll be back tomorrow, of course, with more talk. I'll tell you my take. I want to give you my opinion on how I think Eric Ten Hag can be able to play Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes together, because I think it's killing the career of Mount. And yet he signed him as a golden boy. He was all looking excited with the family at Carrington, but things are not doing good. I feel for him because honestly, I think Mount is better than, I think, 80 or 90% of our players. He's a better footballer than, I think, the only footballers better than Mount at Man U, Bruno and HOJLUND. Who else? Tell me, who else? Mount is better than all those players, but Eric Ten Hag has failed to figure out how to play him. So Mount's problem is Ten Hag. He's the one who brought him with a plan for him, but he has failed to make it work. So, but I'll help him try to figure it out. That will be my one of my next video. Look out for it. But for now, that's it, guys. Let me go and rest. Cheers.